What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wager Zone podcast, guys. And we have a special guest here. We have Christian Natividad. He just put on a great fight this past week at UFC at LFA 210. It was such a great event. One of my favorite fighters to watch. And welcome to the show, Christian Natividad.
What up, guys? Thank you for having me on, dude. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. So I have about like 10, 11 questions for you today just to see where your mind's at, your past performances. And so let's get right to the first question. So I know you were off for about 2 years because of some injuries and stuff. And I just would like to technically just ask, how did that change your mindset? How did that actually help you? Or was it like a long road back to getting back to that recovery?
Definitely a long road back, and the reason why is because sitting on the sidelines, I you can't train. Like I wasn't able to walk for the longest time. I think it took me, um, about maybe 3 months for me to start walking, and then a whole 8 months for me to even start running. And from going to a very active lifestyle to being very sedentary, all I could do is really just sit back and really reflect. And, you know, I've had my battles with the mind game, with just these negative thoughts going through my head. But I'm glad I was able to push through. I was able to see a little bit of light on the other side, and that's where we're at now.
Good, that's good, man. Yeah, I'm happy to see you back in the ring, man. Like I said, it was about 2 years you did a layoff, so I'm happy to see you back, and I'm happy you got through that battle to get yourself back in the LFA ring. And so, like, since you've been back, you've had two wins now. You have a win in November. Now you have a win just past this past weekend at LFA 210. Did you feel any changes being in there? Did it feel like was it a good feeling, or did you like feel yourself gotten better since you came back?
Oh, 100%. And when I say better, it's in every aspect as far as skills and just health.
Mm-hmm.
So my first fight back in November, I felt like I kind of rushed that. I mean, I did have a full fight camp, 5 6 weeks, but prior to those 5 6 weeks before I started camp, I wasn't really doing much. I was just getting my feet wet, starting to train again. But my coaches said, "Hey, you're helping Amir train for Brandon Moreno. Let's go ahead and get you a fight too at the same time. You're pretty much in camp too." And I said, "Yeah, why not?" In all reality, my body and mentally, I wasn't really fully ready to get back into the cage, and I wanted to stay as active as possible. I've had fights, fall through, but this time around, I just felt confident all around as far as skill sets and especially my body. I usually when it comes to injuries, a lot it's in a lot of people like in their mind, in the back of their head, just thinking about, are my knees gonna be okay? Is my injury gonna reoccur?
Mm-hmm.
I had none of those thoughts in my head.
That's really good, man. Yeah, like I said before, I'm happy you got through that battle. It's especially coming to injuries. I've torn my knee out before, so I know how it feels to like when I played basketball. So when I would tore my ACL and I came back playing, I didn't know if I wanted to jump anymore. Just landing sometimes is just in your thoughts. So I'm really happy you got through that mental battle because that mental battle can be really challenging. And like so, this past weekend you fought against Jose Sandoval. He's a very heavy striker, and being in there. What was the game plan? Did he surprise you with anything, or did you surprise yourself with just how good your performance was?
No, he's tough, and the reason why I liked this matchup is because he likes to stand and bang, and when it comes to the ground, he's very savvy with his jiu-jitsu. But it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. In all reality, what I thought to myself, it doesn't matter what cards he plays. If he wants to strike, I'll beat him in striking. If he wants to grapple, I'll beat him in grappling.
Mm-hmm. And I guess my next question is like, I know you train at Fight Ready MMA, and I'm not sure, do you still train at Arizona Combat Sports or just only Fight Ready now?
I'm at both gyms. I
Okay.
spend most of my time over at Fight Ready though.
Okay, so like with two elite gyms like that, what does each gym actually help you out with? Like, what do the camps actually bring, especially with you are more at Fight Ready now? What does the camp actually bring to you a little bit better than I guess you would say? Not better, but what are the changes in your different camps?
Yeah, AZ Combat, they're really big on fundamentals, meat and potatoes, how to throw a jab, how to throw a right hand. I feel like you can't really get too fancy if you don't have your meat and potatoes. So
Mm-hmm.
AZ Combat, just for basic fundamentals, and for Fight Ready, it's to mix it up and to add a little bit of more flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And my next question, I guess, would be, so you were born in Hawaii, right? Am I correct? Where you were born in Hawaii?
I was actually born in New Jersey, but
Oh, you were born in New Jersey.
yeah, I was raised in Hawaii. My dad is originally from Hawaii, so but ever since I could start remembering stuff, it start all start off in Hawaii for the most
Oh,
part.
So like, what actually made you transition to Arizona? Was it fighting? Was it like college or anything that you end up going to Arizona, switching, going, leaving from Hawaii?
Yeah, so I went to college in Oregon at first.
Okay.
I think college is the perfect way to get out of Hawaii. And I'm not saying you want to get out of Hawaii because I love Hawaii. Hawaii's home. It's beautiful. I miss it a lot.
Mhm.
I think about it regularly. But it's tough when you have family there and leaving family. Especially when you're a big family person and family is big in Hawaii. It was hard
Mhm.
for me to leave my family, but I knew with college that's my time. That's the time for me to really branch off and really start a life for myself. So I went out to Oregon and I was in college over there just for a year, and I decided to transfer over to ASU, which brought me to Arizona.
Okay, yeah, that's really good to hear that. I wanted to learn a little bit different things about you, show some fans some different things that they might not know what was the transition. So really happy to hear that. So like my next one would be like your name, your nickname. You have one of the best nicknames in all of MMA, in my opinion, the Hawaiian Punch. What actually came? Well, how did you understand you're Hawaiian? I know you have a really hard punch, but like, was that really the main reason why, or like, what was the? Did someone just call you the Hawaiian Punch one day, or was it more of like a thought out process, or did it just come naturally?
I like to throw my hands, and anyone could throw a punch, but not everyone could throw a Hawaiian punch.
Hmm.
So the way it actually came about, my nickname originally, and I got my first nickname right before my pro debut is the Poi Pounder, because on my last amateur fight, I was pounding the guy's head like I was pounding some poi,
Hmm.
and that was my nickname for a little bit. When I started training at Fight Ready, there's this guy named Captain. He's always with Henry Cejudo. He's the guy with the fancy glasses, but he
Hmm.
started calling me the Hawaiian Punch, and it just stick ever since.
Okay, that's really good to know. I've always said, man, he probably has one of the best nicknames in all of. It just fits so perfect. All of MMA, it's a Hawaiian Punch and fit perfectly. So like
Hmm.
you've actually won fights by knockout. You've won fights by decision. Like how would you say your fighting style is? Would you categorize yourself as a finisher, or I understand you're probably always going for the finish, but would you say you're more of a technical all around fighter, or would you say you're more of a finisher?
I wish I could say finisher, but I'm coming off 5 straight decision wins, and it's unfortunate because you know, I I want to knock these people out, but it's tough. What really disappointed me about this last fight, if I don't know if you saw in between each round, but in between each round, I wasn't even breathing really that hard, and I
Hmm.
had a lot more juice in me. And after the fight, I was doing a little bit of reflection, and I've had Jose Sandoval rocked a decent
Yeah.
amount of times. A few times in the first, few times in the second, and a few times in the third. I was hitting him clean, and if I just up the gas a little bit, I probably would have took him out. And so I think that's one thing you have to keep in mind for next time, just when to rev it up a little bit and when to stay steady and stay technical.
Yeah, I agree. I watched all the fight, and I agree that you felt like it felt like you could have fought for like two or three more rounds. Like you were just the sound in your breathing, that looked like you weren't breathing heavy. You were rocking him all the time. Like he just had a really good chin. Like that dude just took some punishment, and like you technically dominated the fight. But I feel like a lot of fighters besides Jose Sandoval probably would have been dropped and been knocked out, and for all the shots you were giving him. So I agree. I agree. Like you look like you were going for the finish for that one. And now coming off of that fight, um, do you believe you're going to be close to the UFC now? Do you think you're going to get that contender series call? Like, is that your goal to go to the contender series, or would you rather like get like a short notice into the UFC, or does it matter by that? Or are you just like, however I get into the UFC is however I get into the UFC?
I was originally planning for this LFA fight to be my last LFA fight or my last fight out of the UFC. We'll see what happens. I'm not. I haven't spoke with my managers as far as what's the next steps are. So that's something that I have to do. I have to follow up with them. But obviously, UFC is the goal. As far as how I get there, I'm not gonna rely on a short notice call because those are hard to come by these days.
Hmm.
So my goal was always contenders. But if a short notice comes up before that, I'll take it.
Yeah. And so like now with you being out of your fight camp and now actually you've just fought last weekend, how do you recharge? Like, do you have any hobbies that nobody knows about? Like, do you do certain things outside the ring to get yourself balanced and back into that mindset?
I bet I out eat any fighter. But I love to eat. But with that being said, I can't be too bad like how Patty is. So of course I did pig out like most fighters did after their fight, but I'm already back to eating healthy. I want to get back in the cage as soon as possible. Ideally, like I said, contenders, if a short notice opportunity happens, take the short notice. But other than that, I want to stay active. So if that UFC opportunity doesn't come around, I'll be fighting sometime sooner within the next 2 to 3 months.
Okay, good, good. I'm happy to see, want to see you back in that ring. Like I said, you're one of my favorite prospects to watch. So I love watching your fights all the time. So if you had to say one thing that fans don't know about you that we can't actually figure out from inside the ring, what's like a one thing you would say fans that would should or you would like them to know about you that we can't figure out when you're actually fighting?
Yeah, it's sorry, I have my notifications on.
No problem.
Um, yeah, so it's weird because I know a lot of people like to brag about fighting, and I know fighting, like me marketing myself, it's part of my business, and I try to do that, but it's something I don't really talk about too often. So I still work a 9 to 5 job, and I people are like, "Are you excited to leave a 9 to 5 job and just do fighting full time?" I did quit my 9 to 5. I used to be a manager at a solar company, and
Mm-hmm.
I quit that job to do fighting full time. And I at first I thought it was dope, just being able to wake up, go train people. But what I come to learn is I like to work at that job. I like to wind down, looking at computer and doing numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a numbers guy. And when it comes to talking about fighting, I don't even really talk about fighting too much because I don't want people to like me just because I fight. I want people to
Yeah.
like me for who I am. So when went back to the office on Monday, obviously my manager knew that I fought because I told her, "Hey, I have to take some time off because I have this fight."
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I didn't talk to anyone else about it. People brought it up. They're like, "Oh, how's your vacation?" Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, it's good." What was it for? Just hang out with family, friends, get away. Yeah, so I don't really talk about fighting too much. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them know that I fight, but it's not something I brag about.
Hmm. Well, that's good. That's actually really nice to hear. I bet a lot of people actually like that because I feel like there's a lot of fighters out there that are probably that are just like, oh yeah, oh, I fight for a living. They kind of like you said, they brag about it, and I feel like you're more down to earth, more to like people that don't fight. People can relate to you just because, like you said, a lot of people in your what's it called in your office probably don't even know you fight, or if they do know you fight, you're not sitting there talking to them about all your fights. So that's actually really good to hear. It seems like you're a very nice, very down to earth guy, and so yeah, man, that was like all the questions I have for you guys to have for you today. I just really wanted to get a new feeling and see who was Christian Natividad outside the ring, what are certain things you were doing. So I really appreciate you coming on and doing this interview with me, man. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you in the UFC. And I guess one last thing, is there anything you would say to the fans out there that now figured out who the real Christian Natividad is? Is there anything you would like to say to them? Would you like to tell them to watch out for you? Because I do believe you're an upcoming prospect.
Yeah, I just say, just keep your eyes on me. I know I said I don't like to talk about fighting too much, but we're on the pretty much on the doorstep of the UFC, so we're almost there. And if it's not this next fight, I'm sure it's going to be within the next couple.
Okay, man. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Glad to see you. Like I said, everybody, the Wager Zone, go check out Christian Natividad, one of the best prospects to watch. I do believe he's going to be in the UFC within his next year. Really nice guy, as you guys can see. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the page, guys. And thank you, Christian. I really appreciate you coming to this interview.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yep.